Now I've installed Deepin 15.4.1 on an external drive, but I'm going to show the installation process in VirtualBox. So I'm going to install a new virtual machine, call it Deepin. It's Linux, and it's closest to Debian 64-bit. I'm going to leave the memory size at 1024 megabytes. I'm going to create a virtual hard disk, and I need at least 12 gigabytes. I'm going to show about 20 dynamically allocated. Create. Now I'm going to start, and I have to find an ISO file. And here it is, Deepin 15.4.1, open. Now I'm going to start. I'm going to view this as full screen. So I'm going to select English as my language. Click on Next. Friendly reminder, it doesn't work as well in a virtual machine. OK. I'm going to enter a username. Now, this is not my real name, it's a username, so it has to be all lowercase letters. XRAM Tech. It's named a machine for me. I could change that. Password. Confirm password. Next. Now it's identified my location correctly as Chicago. Click on Next. I'm going to select my virtual hard disk as the location of the installation. It's going to format that and select device SDA1, the virtual device, as root. Continue. Now it's installing. I'm going to show enough of this slideshow so that you see all of the slides, and then I'm going to pause the video. All right, this is where we came in, so I'm going to pause the video. Okay, successfully installed. Now reboot to enjoy the new experience. Now I'm in my actual installation of Deepin 15.4.1 on a remote hard drive. This is basically a minor point release, as the decimals indicate, largely bug fixes, but it does have some new features. Let me say at the outset I had a hard time finding the shutdown button. I didn't see anything over here, but if I go to the battery monitor, it turns into a shutdown button. Now it says charging 99%, but when I left click on it, I get the shutdown routine. You notice there's no way out of this. However, I just click on escape and that's gone. Now another way to get the shutdown button is to go over here and right click somewhere on this plank and go to mode. It's in the fashion mode now, but if I go to the efficient mode, the system tray suddenly appears over here and there's the shutdown button. So I much prefer the efficient mode. And you notice it has the battery symbol separate. It has the simple screen recorder symbol, the shutdown icon, sound control, current volume 111%. I need to turn that down a little bit. Now here's the network manager. Here's my Wi-Fi, and I'm going to enter the password. And click on connect. And I'm connected. And then over here you have the time, the date and the time, and if you click on that, you get a full-fledged calendar. Now on the left here, you have the launcher, and this is the traditional Deepin launcher with this large array of icons. By default, it generally comes this way with the ones they recommend first: Google Chrome, WPS, Office, Deepin File Manager, etc., Deepin Store. If you left click on this symbol again, you get the categorized array. Here's Internet, Music, Video, Graphics, etc. Now there's another option here. Click on that again, and you'll notice at the upper right there's a little expand contract symbol, and if you click on that while the arrows are pointing together, it contracts into a somewhat more compact launcher, and that persists until you click on the arrows again. So again, you can leave this the way it is, or you can click on this symbol and this returns to the sort of general random display. And here, of course, again is the categorized display. All apps is the same as before, but here's Internet again, Google Chrome, Skype, Thunderbird Mail, Remote Assistant, Music, Spotify, Deepin Music, Video, Deepin Movie, Deepin Screen Recorder. I'm not using that. I'm using Simple Screen Recorder, which I installed, but it works. It's somewhat more limited than Simple Screen Recorder. Deepin Voice Recorder. Here's Simple Screen Recorder. The MPV Media Player. Under Graphics, you have Deepin Screenshot and Deepin Image Viewer. Under Game, you have Steam, which of course can lead you to many games for which you have to pay. Office, it has WPS, Office, Writer, Presentation, and Spreadsheet. Has a text editor. Has a Deepin Cloud Print, a Deepin Cloud Scan, Print Settings, and QMC. Under Reading, it has Foxit Reader. This is a PDF viewer. Foxit is not exactly free open source. You don't have to pay for it, but it's patent encumbered. Under System, you have Deepin File Manager, Deepin Store, Deepin Terminal, Simple Scan, Deepin Bootmaker, Computer, Show Desktop, Trash. And under Others, you have Deepin User Feedback and Crossover, which is an emulation layer similar to Wine for running Windows programs in Linux, but Crossover works a little better, and it's also not necessarily free and open source. And you'll notice also with the compact menu, there's a shutdown button, which you won't find in the non-compact menu. Otherwise, Deepin works much the way it worked before. If you click on this symbol, this gear symbol, you get the control center at the right, and by clicking on the upper right here, you can get the sort of main graphical view. Here's Accounts, Display, Default Applications, Personalization, Network, Bluetooth, Sound, Time and Date, Power Management, Mouse and Touchpad, Keyboard and Language, Update, and System Information. This is the Show Desktop icon. Now here's the multitasking view. As you can see, it shows 4 active desktops, and I can remove a desktop by clicking on the X, or I can add desktops by clicking on the plus. And by default, you get a different background for each desktop. You can, of course, change the background in each desktop, and if you want to have them all the same, you can make them all the same. Notice that here in desktop number 2, I have 2 open applications, and it shows the minimized applications as well as the unminimized application. So here I have what is the text editor, which is basically gedit, about, gedit 3.22. But minimized, I have WPS Writer. So I'm going to minimize that again. Now in the third workspace, I have the File Manager. And let me say that I think the File Manager is much improved over what it used to be. The only thing I don't like about it is that, like the Nautilus File Manager in GNOME 3, it doesn't observe the window snaps. But if I look under About, this is the Deepin file manager version 1.5, and it's independently developed by Deepin Technology, featured with searching, copying, trash, compression, decompression, file property, and other file management functions. It's a lot more flexible than the file manager used to be. If I want to open a new window, it's really easy to do it. Now the only thing is, since it doesn't observe snaps, it's a little difficult to use both windows at once. I have to start to manipulate the size, which can be an irritation. But here I can see not only my current directories, also under computer here, I can see the currently operating system disk, which is on a remote drive, the 500 gigabyte volume on my internal disk, and 168 gigabyte volume on my other remote drive. If I click on this one, for instance, double click, I get this, but it's locked, unfortunately. So I think I'd have to open this file manager as root or administrator before I could get into my internal disk. That's a slight irritation. Anyway, I have the file manager on this workspace. And over here on the fourth workspace, it appears that I have two items. One is the calculator and one is the system monitor. They're both maximized. And I go back to the multitasking view. It still shows them both, even though the calculator is minimized. Since I have the system monitor here, let's just take a look at it. I have Simple Screen Recorder running. So it's using a fair amount of resources. It's using 1.4 gigabytes of my 3.8 gigabytes of memory. But that's with Simple Screen Recorder. I think it was around 900 something megabytes with only the desktop running, which is better than GNOME 3, but worse than KDE Plasma 5.10. Anyway, back to my first desktop, where Simple Screen Recorder is minimized. Now, as I said, this comes with the WPS Office suite. You can install LibreOffice. I'm going to the Deepin store. It's taking a minute to load. This odd symbol here is the Office symbol. That's taking another minute to load. I'm going to maximize this. And it doesn't seem to maximize, so I won't maximize it. I tried. You notice if you're really determined to use Microsoft products, you can find the web version of Microsoft Office on here. You can use that in Linux. But here's LibreOffice. I'm going to install this. It says installing, and this little thing that's whirring around indicates some sort of activity. See if I can click on this. Downloading, it's downloading at a very slow rate. Well, 1.2 megabytes per second is not too bad. 957, etc. Keep an eye on that. I think that 6 indicates 6%. So I'm going to pause the video while that plods ahead. I'm going to unpause this. This is now gone down to 23 kilobytes per second at one point. This is just extremely slow. I'm going to stop this. Now I'm going over here to the control center. Under System Information and Update Settings. And then Switch Mirror. And let's see what I have. I'm on the official mirror, which uses a distributed network and is usually pretty good. Now I'm going to click on Test Speed. That's going to redo those speed settings. Now here, Silicon Valley Web Hosting shows a fast speed, so I'm going to click on that. Now I'm going to go back into the Deepin store. Under Office. There's LibreOffice again. Now everything is working faster. I'm going to install it. I'm going to click on this little whirling thing up here. It's not downloading at all. Let's give it a minute. 406 kilobytes per second, 322 kilobytes, 2.2 megabytes per second. That's much better. 2.6 megabytes per second. Much better, much better. So it makes a difference which mirror you use. Let me say while this is going on that oops, we're back down to 0 kilobytes. 0 kilobytes. Let me give it a minute. 3.94 kilobytes, 2.68 kilobytes per second. This is not good at all. Let me say while this is going on that when I originally downloaded the ISO file for Deepin 15.4.1, I tried the regular download on their website and it was going at 11.4 kilobytes per second. It would have taken me several centuries to install this system, but they do have an option to go to other mirrors, and I chose the SourceForge mirror, and it downloaded between 5 and 7 megabytes per second on my fairly fast internet connection, so that was acceptable. Now this has gone back up to 2.5 megabytes per second. It varies quite a bit, but they all vary quite a bit. I'm going to pause the video and see how this is loading. Right now it's at 33%. Now it's finished downloading, it's installing, it's at 57%. I'm going to pause it again, but it seems to be moving fairly fast now. So now we're at 96%. and LibreOffice has been installed successfully. However, I don't see it anywhere. Oh, there it is, way down at the bottom there. I have the full suite here, the Writer, Calc, Impress, Presentation, Draw, Math, the Formula Writer, and Base Database. So I'm going to open the Writer for change. And that at least I can maximize. And when I go to Help and About, it's only version 5.2.6.2. This is not the latest version, which, if I'm correct, is 5.3.4.2. And it doesn't have some of the features of the latest version, like the option for having an alternate ribbon interface. It's not ancient, but it's not the latest version. And that's probably one of the two major drawbacks of Deepin that I can identify. One is they still have some pretty slow download speeds, but the number of mirrors is improving, and the download speeds on some of the mirrors is improving. And the other one is somewhat out-of-date software. As I understand it, Deepin uses the Debian unstable branch, but it takes a snapshot of the unstable Debian repositories and does some editing and some recompiling, etc. So in this case, it's somewhat out of date. If I remember correctly, when version 15.4 was first introduced, it was fairly up to date. So those are two drawbacks, but it's a beautifully done desktop, probably one of the most beautiful of any Linux distribution or of any operating system that I can think of. And there's a certain amount of pleasure you can get just from using something that is extremely well designed. And Deepin 15.4.1 continues to make progress. This is XRAM Tech. Thanks for watching.